Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Yankees Farm Report. We had a big episode planned, but we ran into some last minute schedule issues. So we're just going to run down the players of the week. I did want to make one announcement, though. Next week, we will be dropping a special draft episode. So make sure to tune into that. That's probably going to drop on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you guys tune into that. And getting right into it, let's go right down to the Dominican Summer League. You have Yostin Pena, who hit 600 with a 1567 OPS, two extra base hits, a home run, eight RBIs. Isias Castillo hit 375 with a 1065 OPS, two extra base hits, four RBIs, six walks, three steals. Cesar Lopez, who I've mentioned here before, is hitting 357 with a 1015 OPS, a home run, five RBIs. Juan Torres hit 333 with a 1300, four extra base hits, a home run, seven RBIs, and Juan Martinez hit 308 with a 665 OPS.
Lopez is a guy I don't know much about. You have any you got a snippet about him?
He was an IFA in 2026 IFA. He was probably the number two signing for the Yankees in the class. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe he was a $250,000 signing.
So getting off to a decent start then.
He is, and well, right now they have four really solid catchers down in Dominican Summer League. You have Cesar Lopez, you have Juan Martinez, who I just mentioned as well. You have Alessandro Rodriguez, who's playing on the Bombers team, and don't forget that Kenneth Melendez, who was their number one IFA in this class, just debuted yesterday, I believe, and he went one for three, if I'm not mistaken, with a sacrifice fly and I believe a double, if I'm not mistaken. I posted it on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, so we there's obviously a lot of guys in the DSL who are performing well
Mhm.
offensively. And I know we've talked about this in a previous episode, but I saw a crazy stat for the DSL. The entire league, it's 51 teams. The
Mhm.
entire league's on base percentage is over 400.
I mean,
So
it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy to have the high on base percentage there, but um,
But for
eh,
51 teams to have like
yeah,
collectively have that is a crazy environment. So my
it's a fun
question
league.
to you is,
It's a fun league.
does that make you feel any differently about what's happening? Or I mean,
No,
in the end,
absolutely not. Because as someone who's been primarily focused on the farm system for what almost 5 years now, I don't think I've seen a DSL team for the Yankees that's this fun to watch. And again, I've been watching it for 4 or 5 years exclusively. I don't think I've seen an IFA off to the start that Yostin Pena is off, and he was a $350,000 signing, and he's playing like a $2 million player, if you ask me. What he's doing right now, I thought we were going to see from Francisco Velorio, and
yeah,
Yostin Pena is just knocking it out of the park on all facets of the game.
yeah. So I mean, the idea that with the pitching in the league being so young, obviously, and probably you're scouting guys, especially if they're starting in the DSL, and I'm not saying you're going to find a lot of people who are just going to leap over that league. Even the guys who are a little more advanced are going to pitch a year there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot of guys who probably got signed for velocity,
hmm
but
And
are
then had to learn, and then they
having
had to
trouble
reverse engineer
commanding the
them.
strike zone.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, does that make you look at a strikeout percentage or whiff percentage any differently if you know we're talking about guys where first of all are young hitters, but also are dealing with guys where it's hard to zone in on pitches when you don't know exactly where they're going. Is there a little bit of leeway there when you look at those numbers and say, all right, maybe a 25% strikeout rate in the DSL, you don't want it, but there could be a small adjustment there for the type of pitching that they're facing.
Yeah, I mean, and I asked, what was it, like, I think it was 2 years ago. I had Jared Turner on the show, and I asked him about what was the difference between the DSL and coming into the Florida State League, and he said, well, in the DSL they throw a lot of fastballs, and a lot of times you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, as someone who's been watching these teenagers for what 4 or 5 years now, I haven't seen a team that's been this much fun. Maybe Roderick's class during his debut season, but there weren't this many guys that were having great seasons. It would be three or four guys, but I think on the Yankees team, the DSL Yankees team, the first five or six guys in that lineup have an OPS of over 1,000.
Yeah. And we're not talking about one or two names now. We're looking at more than a handful of guys who are interesting hitters, and they just
Hmm.
keep hitting. And
Yeah.
not even hitting, but you got guys hitting for power
Hmm.
too at that level in a way that I don't recall
Yeah.
recently seeing this many guys hit for this much power.
Yeah, and that was gonna bring me to Steven Martinez, who I think he hit 275 last season, but I believe he only hit one home run. I think he's up to four, if I'm not mistaken, or five. Or Juan Torres, I believe the same situation. He only had one home run last season. He's up to five already.
Yeah, and he's got, I mean, he had good numbers last year,
He
but you
did.
had some, you can raise questions if you want to because he's on the smaller side, but I mean, he's hitting the ball over the fence this year,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
the numbers
he's
across
hitting
the
with
board are fantastic.
yeah, he's hitting with a lot more power this season than he hit last year.
And in that regard, would that be a guy? Look, you have roster limits once they come to the States,
Hmm.
and there's only so much room. But would that be a guy, Torres, that you thought could justifiably have been in the complex league this year?
I did. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he hit like 357 last year in the chats. Please check me on that. But I think he hit 357 last year. Hitting wasn't an issue for him. He made lots of contact. The problem was that the power wasn't coming out, and you're
Yeah,
seeing that now.
right. And I mean, it looks good from the little bit of the little snippets that we've seen.
Hmm.
He looks comfortable at the plate. The swing looks comfortable and at the plate, and I don't know. Now you start to get to the point of the season where you start to project a little bit and think, is there room for everybody next
Yeah.
year? Like, because now if you're going to whittle these two teams down and you've got some guys who are repeaters, like you got some infielders here and people are going to need a place to play because what we've seen at the complex league is they run a similar lineup out there every day. So
Hmm.
now you start to actually look to see where this competition stands for who's going to be taking those spots next year, which I think is an interesting beginning of the season. It's just, all right, let's see what happens. And now we're starting to see after enough games, enough at bats, there's consistency in the performance. Now it turns into, all right, what does this lineup look like when these two teams become one
Hmm.
next year? Because I don't know this, these guys who are performing don't look like they're going to be back in the DSL next year. There wouldn't be
Yeah.
justification at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you take the first six guys in the lineup, and they're probably going to be in the FCL last season. I know, especially, I mean, you just look at it, right? You have Castillo, who's repeating the DSL, so he's definitely should be stateside next year. The second in the lineup is Martinez. He's definitely going to be stateside. He's a big time IFA.
Could have
Yosten
argued
Pay,
that he could go this year.
he could have, yeah, exactly. I mentioned it before. I think the only reason he didn't get moved up this season was because the Yankees wanted to get a better look at Dexter Peralta, who is kind of paying dividends. Um, then the next guy in the lineup is Yosten Pena. You've already seen Yosten Pena; he's crushing it in every facet of the game, even on defense as well. Uh, I guess the other guys, once you start getting past them, now you start asking, well, is this person going to repeat like Cesar Lopez? Uh, Juan David Martinez. Are these and these are catchers. So
Yeah.
are they going to repeat the league? I mean, it's possible. I can't think of the top of my head right now who's in the FCL right now. I know there's Kenny Pineda. Kenny Pineda is there.
Capayan.
Capellan is there. Diego Flores is there. I'm trying to think who else. There might be one other guy, if I'm not mistaken, that's there as well. So I mean, you have to think, how fast are these guys going to move? Who's next at Tampa? Because it's always who's above you, right, in the pecking order, who's
Sure.
in the level before above you, because that's in the Yankee system. That's pretty much what dictates or can dictate how fast you move. Is who's
Yeah.
above you, in the level above you.
Right. Right, but it like we've said a number of times before, this is kind of what you've hoped for. You
Hmm.
wanted to look down to the DSL and see performers, and
Hmm.
yes, the rest of the league is performing too. But I suppose it would be a lot worse if the Yankees didn't have guys who were hitting and the rest of the league
I
was.
mean, outside of Martinez and Matic and Donye a bit towards the end, it- between the two DSL teams, they were not performing this way. I mean,
They were not, no, they were not
outside of
knocking the doors
them,
down last
yeah,
year.
no, outside of them, it was like I think it was just pretty much going through the motions. You would say, okay, these three, four guys, yes, you absolutely know they're gonna move up, and the rest of these guys, I'm not so sure about. They're probably gonna
Right.
repeat.
Yeah.
Moving on to the pitching side of things, you had John Beltray pitched 4 innings. gave up 1 run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. You had Junior Jerez, pitched 4 shutout innings, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. He's been actually one of the best pitchers for the Yankees down on the island. He is part of the IFA class. He was a late signing for 2026. Angel Salazar threw 3 and 2/3 shutout innings, no walks, no hits, 6 strikeouts. Freddie Peñuelas pitched 3 innings. He allowed two unearned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He pitched pretty well in his last outing, if I'm not mistaken. He threw 5 1/3 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts. He's been one of their best pitchers, maybe even their best pitcher. I saw a video on him. I just haven't. I actually have video on him, but I just haven't put it out yet. He's a lefty, throws 88, 91, pretty good command. Um, he's been one of their best pitchers this year.
I think if you look up xFIP for the organization, minimum 20 innings, he might be second in the whole organization, and that's
Mm,
among a bunch of relief pitchers. So like
mhm.
I think Rossi's first, and then the guys after that are upper level relievers who have pitched well. And in an environment like we just talked about, if that's what we're talking, I mean, his xFIP is that low, then he is the best pitcher at that level right now.
He might be. I know he's had 2 outings where he pitched 5+ shutout innings, um, and with minimal walks. I think in that first game where he went 5 innings with 5 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts, I think he walked one. In this last outing, he may have also walked one, struck out 6 or 7. I want to say 7, but he has been pitching pretty well, surprisingly.
How can you tell who their best pitching prospects are there? I
I
mean, are
mean,
you looking at
I
you
just
just
basically look how many innings this person pitched, average against, walks, command is big to me. I don't really care so much about hit batsmen. They're still learning how to pitch.
those
That's part of
they
like,
don't know how to get out of the way yet.
yeah, and strikeouts pretty. That's pretty much it. I mean, but I don't know because I'll see a picture and I can tell right away. I'm like, all right, this guy looks legit. Like when I first saw
Yeah,
Henry Lalane, I was like, okay, this guy could pitch. When I saw Carlos Legrand, I was like, he could pitch.
yeah,
Jordan Mendoza, when I saw like you, sometimes you just know right away.
sure. And
Whereas other
that's
guys, well, most guys, it takes some time.
And that's why I have trouble scouting box scores in the DSL just because,
Mhm.
you're unfamiliar with these people. And if you haven't seen them pitch at all,
Yeah,
you know what to think. You're looking at numbers. And like I said,
yeah.
if your ERA is under 5 right now in the DSL, it catches your eye. But you also don't know what kind of stuff they have.
Mhm.
And then,
No, but like I said, when you see them for the first, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy could pitch. This
yeah.
guy could pitch. You have a pretty good mole here. As long as the Yankees break out the chisel, they can probably make something here.
And there was something I was going to mention with this, but I'll save it when we get to the complex league because I think it applies to this topic too. But we'll come back to it.
All right. Moving on to the Bombers, you had Edison Charles hit 375 with 1,000 OPS, an extra base hit. Alfieri Matos hit 308 with 708 OPS, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 steals. David Carrera, who's probably one of the top 2 guys on this squad, hit 286 with a 910 OPS, a home run, 3 extra base hits, 5 RBIs.
Yeah, that's another
And
guy,
yeah.
Herrera, you're starting to pay attention to his name,
Mhm.
but I don't
I'm
know
just
much about him. So
Let me just go right into
different.
the pitching side of things. Jose Sanchez threw four and a third shutout innings, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Igor Requena threw 3 innings, 1 run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And Josue Silvestre threw a shutout inning with 3 strikeouts. But like I said, like we were just saying, right? A lot of times you just read the box score and you're like, okay, that looks good. But if you haven't actually seen this person pitch or this kid pitch, you have no idea what to really think.
And it sounds like we'll be getting a DSL pitcher before the season's over that everybody's going to be paying attention to because the Yankees just signed him, and he's already a top 20 prospect according to BA
Yeah, and on that note, he does report to the complex tomorrow.
tomorrow. Okay,
Yeah,
so it won't be
yeah,
long, and maybe I would guess,
yeah. I was
depending
told
on where he is
he
in his
already
progression.
he left yesterday, and I was told he'll be at the complex tomorrow. I asked, they said maybe 1 or 2 weeks before we see him in a game.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about what the onboarding would look like for him, but there's somebody everybody's going to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
Age appropriate for the level.
All right, moving on stateside at the complex league. You have a guy, and probably never heard of him, Wilberson De Pena. Hit 429 with 1187 OPS, 5 extra base hits, 6 RBIs. Four walks, three stolen bases. Kenny Pineda hit 368 with a 981 OPS, a home run, six RBIs. Justin Capellan hit 364 with a 1280 OPS, three extra base hits, a home run, three RBIs. Richard Matique, a guy I never heard of, he hit 318, 991 OPS, a home run, four RBIs. Lenny Donier hit 316, a home run, four RBIs, and Francisco Velorio 278, 856 OPS, three extra base hits, a home run, four RBIs.
So DePena is now, like you said, he's starting to. Well, you didn't say this, but this is what you're getting at. People are paying attention to him now,
Yeah,
and he's
I
got a
told him
lot
that.
of.
I told him that. I was like, so it looks like people are learning your name now. He started laughing about it, but yeah, I mean, Baseball America wrote about him twice this week, I think.
Yeah, because I think Josh Norris got firsthand look at him, and
Yeah.
so the he was in the helium section of the hot prospect list for the week. And I really like the write-up part when it talked about his makeup and his
Hmm.
leadership qualities and how engaged he is and what his baseball IQ looks like. That stuff is great. Now, I also kind of get a kick out of the rhetoric online where it's, oh, the Yankees stole this guy for
Oh my
Peraza.
God.
Now, Peraza is already is a one-win player for the Angels this year.
Hmm.
Pena's having a fabulous year
Yeah,
in
but
the
he's a long way from
complex
the
league.
base. Hmm.
Right, right. So I can't say if you're the Angels, and obviously the Angels have a lot of issues that they're working through, that
Hmm.
that's necessarily a bad deal for them. Now, there's also the people who've been, oh, look at the Yankees, they stole this guy. Meanwhile, Christian Zazueta, am I saying his name right?
Yeah, yes, that's what.
So he's now one of the top pitching prospects in the game. It was the same
Yeah.
type of trade when the Yankees got Caleb Ferguson, and that
Uh,
didn't pan out. And now this guy's developing with the Dodgers, and the he would be the best pitching prospect probably in the Yankee organization, arguably. But it's just, it's just the reaction to everything. This is working out, so we're geniuses. This doesn't work, so you're stupid.
yeah, but nobody said anything last year because last year the Peña's numbers were ugly. Like
Yeah, and nobody knew
I
who he
didn't
was.
yeah, I didn't I paid attention because I look at this stuff and I'm watching this part of the Yankees primarily, but I was not impressed. I was just not impressed with with what I saw. And then when I saw he was stateside, I was like, why the hell did they promote him to the FCL team? I mean, he hit, if I'm not mistaken, he hit about 220 once he came over, and there was a ton of strikeouts in that. And I don't and I don't know, something clicked within him once he got stateside.
Yeah, and he had the physical attributes that you would want to see, and now he's got the statistics to make you feel good about those physical attributes. And now
Mhm.
the report seems to be he's a tick power over hit, but they seem to feel good about the hit tool for him, or he's got the ability to develop into a an average hitter, which would be fantastic because this guy can do a lot of things well. Um, and so, I mean, we might be ta I think we've said that this is a guy we might see make a move to Tampa at some point. Going
Mhm.
back to your previous point that there's got to be room for him, that he could get some Tampa at bats before the season is over. And I'm wondering now if he's the only one because that's a deep FCL lineup, and a lot of those guys keep performing.
Yeah, I mean, I think another guy that I would watch out for is Richard Matee because BMG is not. I don't think he's a third baseman by trade. He looks more like a second baseman, if you ask me.
Yeah,
And it's pretty much that Tampa team is waiting for Jackson Lovich to get the call to Hudson Valley.
yeah. When, there's a little going to be a domino effect there, I would think. That's
Yeah,
dependent on Cord Jackson, Caden Kent, that kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, well, we'll get to it later, but yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that those guys been due for a promotion, especially Kent.
So here's another piece, and this is what I wanted to bring up. And I saw someone make a mention of Donye
Hmm.
and made mention that he's 19, and so he's older than his competition in the FCL, and he should be beaten up on him. But DePena's 19 as well, and I don't hear any mention about that. My question is, at 19, we're looking at that as being old for the FCL.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous because aren't the majority of college kids go to the SCL, don't they? And
Well,
most kids outside of what the fourth round from fifth round down, most of them, a lot or many of them go to the FCL, start in the FCL.
So this is the topic I want to bring. It's a broader idea. Just with the way that the minor leagues have been condensed now, and you're talking about just looking from a Yankee perspective, you lost two minor league teams between A ball and complex league, right? So Staten Island, Pulaski, those are two levels of competition. The average age of a guy in the South Atlantic League, Hudson Valley, not their team, but in the league, is over 22.
Mhm.
So if we're thinking about a guy in high A being 22, then what's the average supposed to be for a guy in the FCL? I mean, you're talking about there's a big difference between 22 and 18, obviously, but I wouldn't think that 19 is not age appropriate for the complex league.
I need to look that up because that's kind of ridiculous to me. I mean, based off of a baseball reference, it's 19 is the average age.
Yeah, so I that just struck me. And I just, what do you think about age in general? Are you less concerned about age now because of the way the minor leagues are structured, where I don't really I'm going to speak personally. I don't care as much. If he was 20, I wouldn't care as much. He's still a really young player,
Yeah,
inexperienced player, so that's not going to bother me. But what do you
yeah,
think about that?
yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't really look at age like that. I mean, I think in some instances you do need to look at it. I mean, if he was 3 or 4 years older than the league he should be in, then I'll be like, okay, he's a little bit more experienced. Should he be as far as him? Okay, he's beating up on the league. Then I think that's something totally different. But I mean, I think if you're watching a player and you're seeing how well he's doing at whatever age he is compared to what the average age is for the league, I think in most cases you can tell, okay, yeah, this guy's ready to move on. Why is he still in this league? But in the case right here of Lenny, that's absolutely ridiculous to say that he's too old for this league.
And I also think it's
Or
relative to competition. It's not like he's a college player who
yeah,
played a million games in a season and then played in a summer league and all that stuff. I mean, he's an international
he'd be what,
player.
a freshman? He'd be a freshman.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
and
think that's
there's going to
crazy.
be high school players drafted at 19 years old in 10 days or whatever it is. Yeah, 10 days. There's going to be 19-year-olds drafted, and people are going to say, well, they're old for a high school draft pick. Yeah, but they're still going to go in the first and second round. So I don't know. That just struck me as being, I don't care that much about it. And that's what I
Yeah.
was talking about with the DSL pitchers. If I see a DSL pitcher who's 20 years old, I don't really care because what the development for a pitcher, it's different for than it is for a
Hmm.
hitter. And the things he's developing, maybe it takes him that long to get to a point where his grips are this and his body control is that and all. I mean, so once a pitcher clicks in, he isn't going to need to throw 800 innings in the minors. So I don't really worry about his age. And the same thing for the hitters. The only question for a hitter is I think you do need a lot of at bats, unless you're a prodigy. There
Hmm.
just aren't a lot of prodigies. So if a guy, if he was 21 and he's in the complex league, I'm think, well, it's a long road from here to the bigs.
Yeah.
But still, if it takes you 4 years and you're 25 or 26, I don't feel bad about that. You're Spencer Jones at that point. I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, and we've said that before. That prospects are not go. There's no straight line to the big leagues, right?
Right.
It's not linear. There's going to be bumps, and there's going to be sometimes a lot of bumps to get to the big leagues. It happens when it happens, if it's going to happen.
And the Rule 5 piece, it's not age based, is it? It's just based on your service time, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's service time. Service
Well,
time.
then if it was like, if we're just going to make it's either service time or you're 22, then we're going to make you Rule 5 eligible. Then I'd have a different opinion maybe, but I don't think that clock is running the same way.
No, no, it's service time.
Okay. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I don't look at that roster for the FCL and see anybody who I think is behind in their developmental clock.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, like I said, the thinking that Lenny is old for that league and should be beating up on it to me is absolutely ridiculous.
So I have a question about Pineda.
Yeah.
Seems to be plugged into the third spot in the lineup.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that? Because I mean, it's not like he's not doing anything. He's
Yeah, I mean,
having a decent year, but there are other guys who are outperforming him, and they've kind of left that lineup alone.
yeah, Pineda pretty much has been penciled into the third slot. I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with it. It's the same thing in the FCL as it is in DSL, right? I think the bats could could hang with anybody. It's just a matter of the pitching. Can the pitching hold off the opposition? And I've said this to the manager of the DSL team. I'm like, listen, if only the pitching on your teams could hold, your teams could go far because almost no team can match the lineup that you put out every day.
Yeah, geez, you're not wrong. No, I just thought for prospect status, that seems to be a prime spot to plug somebody in. And I just haven't heard anybody talking about Pineda this year, good, bad, or indifferent. I really haven't heard anybody say anything about him.
Yeah. No, I haven't really seen too much about him. I'm thankful that he's just healthy because I know he
Yeah.
missed a lot of time last season. I think last season he only played 20 games. I want to say maybe that.
And there's a little buzz before the season that he might actually be, after all the catchers they traded, that he might be their
Yeah, the
best
next
pitching
guy.
prospect. So
Hmm.
I thought I'd hear something by now. I haven't heard anything dribble out about him. So just interesting that they seemed, I mean, if they're going to plug him in that spot, and doesn't look like his shine has dimmed in the organization, but
I mean, on that note, so then what does that mean about Dexter Peralta that he's penciled into the A slot
yeah,
almost
I know. I
every
had the
game?
same question. But I mean, you look at Peralta's strikeout numbers, and they're
Yeah,
not pretty,
they're not. But he's
but
got. I think his OPS is over 900 if I'm not
it
mistaken.
is. It is. And his WRC plus is I think over 110.
Hmm.
He's got the homers,
Hmm.
which is
What is he at 12 now? I
it's an
think he's at 12.
eye-popping
That's
number of home runs
ridiculous.
for him. But I'm gonna play the age card on him. He's still a baby.
Yeah,
Like
I think he's 19, isn't he?
he's 18.
He's 18.
Yeah. So we're not talking about a billion at bats here, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree. That's an interesting one for me. And that makes me question, okay, what are the premium statistics that I should be looking at that might be an indicator? Or maybe they just left a lineup alone for consistency's sake and just said, this is what you're gonna do. But that's not happening at the upper levels, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
Let me move on to the pitching side of things. You have Sabio Marte, who pitched five in the third innings, 2 runs allowed, 6 hits, 4 strikeouts. He should be close to returning back to Tampa. I think he's just waiting for a lane. Brian Hendry, who is at Tampa, the next level of his rehab, three shutout innings, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Houston Morrow pitched 3 shutout innings. He's also rehabbing with 4 strikeouts. If I'm not mistaken, he might have already been bumped to the next level. And Austin Breedlove has pitched 2 and 2/3 innings of shutout baseball with 1 hit allowed, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and he's looked really good coming out of the bullpen.
And I don't really feel any differently about the FCO pitchers than I do the DSL pitchers. A lot of rehabbing guys,
Hmm.
and then a lot of guys that we're just kind of waiting for. We do know a little bit more about them, Marte or Alejandro, or guys that we know more about them, but I think we're still waiting for them.
Yeah, still in a holding pattern with them.
Yeah.
Moving on to the affiliates at Tampa, you had William Montero. Damn shame he had to go on the IL, but he hit 583 with a 1948 OPS, 5 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Luis Escudero, who we were just talking about just the other day, he hit 313 with a 1355 OPS, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. JoJo Jackson hit 273 with 2 extra base hits and an RBI. And let me just move on real quick to the pitching side of things. You had Henry Lalane, who pitched 7 shutout innings, 1 hitter, 12 strikeouts, no walks. Tyler Boudreau pitched 6 shutout innings, 2 walks, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. Brendan Stuprich, 5 innings of work, 1 run allowed, one run, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And Justin West threw 5 innings, 1 run allowed, no walks, 8 strikeouts. He pitched very good last night again. Oh, and Thatcher Hurd threw 4 and 2/3 innings, 1 hit allowed, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, and he was very good again tonight.
Yeah, yes, he was. And the number minus one start for Hurd, it looks really good.
Hmm.
Stuff looks good. It's ticking up. The results are great. So that there's something to feel good about. Which this
Yeah.
week it's like one kick in the groin after another. And the Escudero thing, it's like you wake up And then here's a piece and it's on Twitter. Like he's one of the top 10
Yeah.
hitters in the minor leagues. Like, oh my God, let's pay attention. And then Aaron writes a piece about him. And then
Hmm.
5 seconds later, he's on the IL. It's like, all right, dude, finally, I shouldn't say finally. Here's somebody now we can also pay attention to that maybe we weren't paying attention to before, and we don't get the chance. But what about Puello? I'm
Yeah.
getting really fascinated with him.
I like Boyo. I
I
like
like
to
the way
see
he
you as a
swings the
DSL.
bat.
Yeah. Lots of power in that. On paper it's 5'9". I'm gonna imagine it's like 5'8". But
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, lots of pop in that bat.
I mean, he hits it hard too, doesn't he? Aren't his
Hmm.
numbers pretty good in
Yeah.
terms of his exit velo?
Hmm.
That's an interesting guy. And there's another one where I would just say, nah, he's a here's a guy who's taking up space because they need a player, but I don't
Hmm.
think that's the case anymore. And so that's when we were talking about the lineup piece. That's what I want to ask you.
Hmm.
So Maea is back.
Yeah.
He's hitting sixth.
Yeah, so he just got dropped. I don't know why, because he had been hitting second for a while, and he's been hitting pretty well since he came back off the IL.
So that I just wondered if
So
that
I
means
don't know if that
anything to you
means
or not.
anything.
Yeah,
I don't know what it means because, like I said, he's been, from what I recall, he's been hitting pretty well since he came off the IL. He was really hot in his first 3 games or so, and I haven't seen too many 0-4s from him since.
yeah. No, I'm just curious about that. So I don't know. They've left Lovich in the leadoff spot, right? And I mean, you've seen other guys move up. I think Maxwell was hitting cleanup tonight.
Tonight he was hitting cleanup, but he typically hits like eighth, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
So I'm just I
Hans hits like third or
Hans was
fifth
hitting
typically.
second. Hans was hitting second tonight.
Yeah.
And that thank you for saying that because that's what I was trying to think of.
Hmm.
Beginning of the season, Hans is batting eighth, right?
Hmm.
And then he hit his way up the lineup. Does that mean he's hitting his way into the hearts and minds of the organization?
But I don't know why he was hitting eighth, if I'm being honest, because the season before he was probably their best offensive player.
He certainly
He did
didn't have a
hit
bad year.
he did hit 10 home runs. I think he hit about 270, 275, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't like he, crapped the bed or something like that. He was probably their best hitter last year.
Yeah. So that's just something I got my eye on. We'll see what happens here then in the next few weeks. I mean, we've said this 100 times. Maya just needs at bats, needs to stay on the field.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if that's a thing. That's what I'm curious about because if that's the case, the guy needs at bats, then I mean, it's not like winning the Florida State League championship. No offense to anybody in the league, is gonna be a big deal to anybody outside the organization. If he needs at bats, why isn't he hitting
Higher in the
first or
lineup.
second? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know.
valid.
Yeah,
Moving on to Hudson Valley, Kate Caden hit 446 with a 1091 OPS, three extra base hits, a home run, six RBIs. Roderick Arias hit 462 with a 1231 OPS, four extra base hits, two home runs. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta look because he might have been the player of the month in June, if I'm not mistaken. He had a really hot June. It's probably gonna be between him or I still have to crunch the numbers, but it's probably gonna be between him and Wilson Rodriguez, who I'm about to mention. Hit 435 with a 1357 OPS, five extra base hits, three home runs, 10 RBIs. Kyle West hit 346 with a 947 OPS, two home runs, four RBIs. Core Jackson hit 292 with two extra base hits, a home run, five RBIs. And Eric Ganther hit 286 with three extra base hits, a home run, and four RBI.
yeah, I don't know. So my relationship with Baseball America goes back a long way. And when Jim Callis and John Manuel used to do their podcast, they used to use the term personal cheese ball. You ever hear that before? So
What is this
just a
personal cheese ball?
personal cheese ball. It'd be like a guy that they liked more than other people. So
Hmm.
maybe the industry wasn't hyper about this person, but they liked him a lot.
Hmm.
That's Wilson Rodriguez for me. He's my personal cheese ball now. I'm so excited about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I know for you, maybe the other guy, you said you got to crunch
Yeah.
the numbers.
Hmm.
You got to be feeling really good about what Roderick's doing.
Absolutely. And I know people online will say, hey, he's done this before, but yeah, he's done this before, but I don't think to this level. I don't think he's done it to this level. And yeah, if you look at the numbers closely, the strikeout rate is still a little bit high. I think it's at 31%, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm gonna take it that he's making a lot more contact.
But so this is my next question, broader question. Are you talking about his overall strikeout
No,
rate?
I'm talking about in June. I don't know about overall, but I'm talking about in
Oh,
June.
okay. Well, that doesn't ruin my point because I'm just asking. I'm not even making a point. I'm asking you a question.
Hmm.
So when Aaron was writing about Wilson Rodriguez, he pointed out how in the beginning of the season he got off to a really rough start.
Hmm.
And once you hit a certain point, the numbers look fantastic.
Hmm.
When do you start paying attention? Is there a time when you focus more on their performance than others during the course of the season? I know it's different for everybody, but you can make excuses in April, weather, adjusting to the level, whatever it is. You can make excuses in September or late August, tired, beat up, the
Hmm.
competent better players have moved on,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
there's always gonna be some variable.
So when is there a sweet spot for you? Is there a time where you would say, I look at the performance in this part of the season because that's it means more to me than it does in the beginning or the end. Is there anything like that for you?
No, but it might be different for me because I do highlights almost every single night, right? So I look at the box score every single night, and
Sure.
I'm parsing through it multiple times. Like, okay, am I going to cut a video for this guy or for this guy or for this guy? No, not for him, not for them. So if I start to notice like a pattern, like, okay, I did Roderick, I did Roderick, I did Roderick, I did Roderick, I did this guy, that guy, Roderick. I see him again. Then I'm like, okay, let me go look at his numbers. I look at his numbers overall. I'm like,
Right,
not so
right.
great.
Yeah.
But let me look at his numbers over the last 10 games. Oh, it looks good. Okay, let me go back a little bit further. Let me look over the last 20 games. Oh, wow, shit. And like in the case of Wilson Rodriguez, let me look back at Wilson Rodriguez's numbers. I did 10, 15. Then I think I did up to 35. And at 35 games, he was still hitting like 315. I was like, holy shit, he's having a really good season.
Yeah.
He must,
And
and I'm like, and he's only overall on the season, he's hitting like 250. That means he had a horrendous start to the year. But if you look over the last 35, he's hitting over 315. He's on fire right now.
yeah, and it's baseball. Guys get hot, guys get cold.
Yeah.
But we're
And
talking about
that same thing happened with Willie Montero. Willie Montero right now, I think he's
yeah.
hitting 260 overall, but he started the season horribly. But if you look at like the last 20 or 25 games, he's hitting well over 300.
Yeah, yeah. And that, but like in the big leagues, you're looking at their performance overall
Hmm.
because it's every night. You got to win every
Yeah.
night. You're looking at performance every night. In the minor
Hmm.
leagues, it's developmental.
Right.
So we can kind of pick a spot and say maybe something clicked here, and now we watch that linear progression.
Hmm.
And it's not, having said that, I know it's not linear. There's ups and
No,
downs and things like that. But for
but
certain players, like,
but but you want to see like incremental improvements, right? If a guy hit 210 in April, he hit 240 in May. Okay, there's a slight improvement there. Okay, he hit 300 in June. Okay, good. In July, he was back down to 260, but then he bumped up to 280. But like, I think if you take it in chunks, if you break up the season in three parts, let's say, okay, was there overall progression?
and maybe the type, like, so the types of players we're talking about, Arias, Wilson Rodriguez, are toolsy, but arguably raw players
Hmm.
that started out very young. They're still very young. And so when the tools start to translate into, like, I'll take Rodriguez, for instance. I'm watching him swing. I'm like, that, I like that swing. That's a good looking swing. I don't know if
He was a high
he had
school kid,
that.
right?
What's
He was a high
that?
school kid. He was a
Out
high
of
drafted out of high
Puerto
school.
Rico. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Um, you start to see the tools translated into not only performance, but they start to look more refined.
Yeah, there's a
Get more
maturation there.
excited about that than like, and this is taking nothing away from Caden Kent, who I really like.
Hmm.
Who you coming out of Texas A&M expect him, especially with big league bloodlines, to be more polished.
Right.
So you're looking for performance right away, right?
Hmm.
And if he
Correct.
doesn't, it's like, all right, what's wrong here?
Hmm.
With guys like Arias, Rodriguez, we can be patient, and then we're looking for that time when it starts to click.
Yeah, I think it's because there's an expectation, right? There's the floor is a little bit higher for those guys, like for Caden
Yeah.
Kent, because of the
Yep.
pedigree. So
Right.
when he came out last season and he kind of came out flat, he struggled in the briefs in the small sample size. You're like, okay, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
don't get it. Maybe he doesn't have it. He's not his dad. But then you look at him this year and it's completely different. But he I think in terms of like a Rodriguez or an RS, you would give him more slack.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit more patient because, like you said, they're still too raw.
And I just I think about it in terms of the industry as a whole or the media that covers the industry as a whole. it's easy for them to ignore players like that who might have had some name recognition and then they didn't perform, or they can look in one area of the stat column and say, see that that's not going to translate. But for guys like us or fans or even in the Yankee organization can see that development and feel a lot better about it, you know? Like
Hmm.
have that patience and have that hope that and see that development happen as opposed to like with Arias's name kind of coming out of the public discourse, it's going to take a lot for him to get back into that. But for us, we can because will watch the games, you're making the videos, maybe you start to see it
Hmm.
happen. And like, all right,
Well,
the rest of the world's not catching on to this yet.
and if you're looking at it from like a national perspective, it's like you have a small time to catch their attention, and then if you, like you said, if you're not hitting or if you're not clicking, they move on to the next shiny thing.
Yeah, look at Lalane,
Hmm.
where it was like Lalane is off the radar,
Hmm.
period. Someone
Hmm.
goes and I mean he has an unbelievable start, one start, and I'm
Hmm.
not poo-pooing what he did,
Hmm.
but someone was there to see it and write it up, and boom, he's top five prospect in the organization again. Now we saw the stuff ticking up, we saw it coming back, but
Yeah.
now he's back in the discourse, right?
Hmm.
Like he was nowhere and now he's somewhere just because okay, someone put eyes on it at the right time.
Hmm.
But we might have seen it coming before some other people did.
Yeah, I think I was creating graphics for him at 3 games, at 4 games, at 5 games, and
Yeah,
after the seventh game, and then that's when it boom, he lit a fire back into the industry,
right.
and Baseball America is talking about him again, and then everybody else is as well.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
But, that's something we could talk about that once we get to Somerset with somebody else.
Moving on to the pitching side of things, Rory Fox pitched 8 innings, one of his best games, if you ask me. 5 hits allowed. He gave up 3-run home run with a hanging breaking ball. That was the only mistake he made that night. With 7 strikeouts, Franny Herrera pitched the best game of his career. He pitched 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Alan Facundo put another double digits on the board. 5 and 2/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 10 Ks. Bryce Cunningham threw 5 innings, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And Hansel Rincon has pitched 2 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts. No one is really talking about Rincon, but he's having a very good year.
He's another one of those guys. If you look at the XFIP leaderboard, and I kind of like that as a stat, he's right up there.
Mhm.
And again, with a lot of relievers that they have in the organization who've pitched well, he's right up there, and that means something. You're right. Nobody's talking about him.
Yep. Moving on to
Nobody's talking
Somerset.
about Roy Fox either, right? Is he kind of flying under the radar? Or no?
I would say so, but he's been pitching a lot better.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's had that one start that sparks the conversation from the
Yeah.
national media.
He's not captured the imagination of anybody yet, but let's
Yeah,
let's not ignore him because I'm glad that you brought him up, and we are talking about a guy in his first professional season. So it's nice that he's taking the ball every week.
yeah. Moving on to Somerset, Kobe Morales hit 350 with a 1235 OPS, 5 extra base hit, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Jackson Castillo hit 318, 948 OPS, 3 extra base hits, a home run, 4 RBIs. I'll move right on to the pitching side of things. You had Cade Smith, 6 innings of work, 1 run allowed, 2 walk. I'm sorry, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Jack Siebert threw 5 and 2/3 innings, 2 runs allowed, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Kyle Carr threw 5 and 2/3 inning, 2 earned runs, a walk, 8 strikeouts. Xavier Rivas, 5 innings of work, 1 run allowed, 6 strikeouts, a walk. Ben Hess threw 4 and 2/3 inning, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts.
Is this the pitching staff that you paying the most attention to in the system right now?
Um, I'm gonna say no if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no because they haven't really caught my attention yet. I mean, I, I, I want to say they've been inconsistent. They've been inconsistent. I want to say yes. I'm paying attention to Jack Seaver. I'm paying attention to Rivas. When Ben Hess is pitching, I'm paying attention for that. But I think consistency has been the issue with this rotation.
Yeah.
Um, Rivas has pitched a lot better of late. I think over his last 5 games, he's a sub 2 ERA. I
Yep.
don't know what he did tonight. I think you told me he went 2 innings and he was pulled. I don't. I haven't
Yeah,
looked at his box
he might
score.
have gotten through three, but it was not, I mean, for a guy who obviously didn't feel well, didn't get beat up too badly at all. But
Yeah.
his strikeout numbers are great,
hmm
and that the splitter has been the weapon that we expected it to be. Um,
Yeah. I think if you look at his numbers overall, he's when I looked at his numbers, not counting tonight, if you take out that game where he got blown up for 11 runs, which I think was on May 28th, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, he gave up 11 runs. If you take that out, he's pitching to a 3.30 ERA on the
yeah,
season, which is not bad at Double A
no,
for his first time at Double A.
right,
But like I said, in his last 4 or 5 starts, he had been pitching to a sub 2 ERA
yeah.
since that blow up game.
So the guy, we were talking about Lalane, but Chase Hampton is a guy who I don't think he's maybe following that path where the stuff just hasn't come back.
Yeah, the velo is definitely not back.
It doesn't mean it won't,
No.
but I'm wondering if we're not going to have the same experience, and maybe it's not this year with him, where it's like, there he is. That's the guy. That's the
Mhm.
guy that we were excited about before. I wonder if we won't have that same moment with him that we're having with Lalane right now.
I'm gonna hold out hope that we are gonna have it. I've been a big Chase fan since he got drafted, so I'm holding out that it's good to have him on the mound again. That he's healthy. Yes, he's not 100%, but he's on the mound. He's taking the ball every 5 6 days, and I'm happy. I'm thankful for that.
It's to his benefit that he's on the 40-man roster as well. So
Yeah.
this isn't a guy who has to pitch for his organizational life. He's got a spot, and I'm
hmm
sure they're going to have some patience with him in that regard.
Yeah. Moving on to Scranton, you had Ernesto Martinez hit 318 with 1100 OPS, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Garrett Martin hit 269, 873 OPS, 4 extra base hit, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. If I'm not mistaken, did you tell me he went on the IL today? I didn't get a chance to look
Yesterday, I think he did.
yesterday.
Yeah, we can't have anything nice.
No, hold on a second.
There you
Well, I don't know what the hell just happened there.
go. Said the magic word.
All right. Um, so yeah, Garrett Martin, I don't know. I don't know what the injury was. Do you have any idea what it was? I
I
haven't
don't.
checked.
I don't. I'm obviously hope it's something minor, but at this point, with a guy like that, even if it's like a hamstring, oblique, something, I didn't know of anything that was an incident, crashing into something to dive or
Mm.
something like
He's been
that.
doing he's been doing a few dives. I know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's anything along those lines. I really have no idea, but I hope it's not 6 weeks or 2 months and we get to see him at the very end because talk about a guy who's having a season.
Yeah. Moving on to the pitching side of things, Brendan Beck threw 7 innings, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Elmer Rodriguez threw 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts. I know command has been a topic on Yankees Twitter when it comes to Elmer. Messenger threw 3 and 2/3 inning, 1 run, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not like him to walk that many hitters in an outing. Giovanni Cruz pitched a two and a third shutout innings with a strikeout. It was very good. Was it Tuesday night, Monday night that Giovanni went out there in the Bronx?
Last night, yeah,
Was it last night?
I think it was last night, and he pitched so well they sent him back down today.
Yeah. So that's now what 3 innings of work for him, 6 strikeouts if I'm not mistaken, with no walks. I don't get it.
It's kind of a tough one. It's not like you've got lockdown guys all throughout that bullpen.
I just don't get it.
No, I don't want to. I know a lot of people are freaking out about it. I don't want to freak out about it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. When I saw it, I was like, "What? Why?"
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
I
And
got
that
to
was
see
the last play.
Messenger live last night, and he was 96 out of the pen.
hmm
Pitched well. So I was thinking last night every time I've seen that guy pitch live, he's had a rough night. That was the best I've got. I mean, thankfully I didn't jinx him being in the ballpark. He must not have seen me. He pitched well last night, and Scranton held on for a 1-run win. Um, but yeah, that you watched at AAA now, especially with you got Lombard hurt, you got Martin out of the lineup, and it's not a lot of even they're playing Norfolk, so it's Baltimore's AAA team. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of 4A players or very familiar names, guys who've been prospects for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting level of baseball where there's not a lot of helium or momentum to the guys on the field or even on the mound, but it's high quality baseball that's being
Mm-hmm.
played and a lot of recognizable names. So it's just an interesting level to watch.
I've always felt like I never paid too much close attention to it because all the action for me is between A and double A. To me, I've always felt like triple A is basically a holding area.
Because it's kind of like you're drawing a graph. If Lombard's playing, his graph is still going like this. But if you're Marco Luciano or Yankees, your graph went like this, and now it's like this, and maybe it's trying to go back. You know what I mean? So are we catching these guys on the way down, or are they on the way back up? And so it's just an interesting way to think of guys who have had that helium before, but it's not there now.
Yeah, they're just trying to get back to the show.
Yeah.
That's all I got. If you want to approach on any other topic. Oh, by the
All
way,
right.
I will be at Clover Park on Friday to watch the Tarpons play the Mets. So if you want to stop by, I'll be sitting behind the dugout.
So I'm gonna throw this one thing at you just because the school year's over and this was on my mind, so I did a an unofficial count. I just took a loose look at this
Uh-huh.
number of former Yankee prospects who are now either in the big leagues with other teams, on 40-man rosters with other teams, or on the IL, big league IL with other teams. And I'm counting guys like
No, I get it.
Higashioka,
You know what's
Gleyber
funny is
Torres,
I
Gary
did this.
Sanchez.
I
So,
did this. I did this last year. To be honest with you, if I'm being honest, I did this last year.
all right,
And when I my number last year was about 70.
70.
Yeah,
Okay. I got 47.
yeah.
Now,
I had 70 that were on a major league roster or were on IL with a major league roster.
okay. Now, that's what I was going to ask you. When you hear that number, is that how do you take that? Does that
I
mean anything?
laugh because
Is it good, bad, or
I
indifferent?
I laugh because the Yankees can't develop prospects. But I watched like three. Wait, was the Red Sox lineup in the last game had like four Yankee prospects in it?
They have,
Four
I
Yankee
think,
prospects.
I think over a quarter of their 40-man roster played for the Yankees. They have five guys who are former Yankee prospects on their 26-man right now. I mean, I think you've got Durbin and I think Siegler has been playing a lot for them. So anyway, you look at the roles that a lot of these guys are playing around the league. Some of them are significant. Like I think 3/5 of the San Diego Padres rotation is former Yankee prospects. Michael King, Vasquez, J.P. Sears. You've
Hmm.
got two guys who are closing. Yoendris Gomez, I think, is closing for the White Sox, and Clayton Beater's
Playing beat
closing
it for the
for the Nationals,
Nationals.
who couldn't crack the Yankee bullpen.
Mm.
TJ Rumfield, statistically, is
He's
a
getting All-Star votes. He's getting All-Star
top
votes.
50 hitter in the big leagues, couldn't crack the Yankees. Now, I'm not saying this as a complaint because a
Yeah.
lot of the guys who are on that's 30 guys are actively in the major leagues on a roster. And like Ezekiel Duran's a starter for
Hmm.
Texas. Most of them don't have significant roles or starting roles or primary roles. So I don't know that I feel this is indicative of anything. Like the Yankees are making mistakes with the guys they're either letting leave or trading and then
Well,
watching
this
them
goes
develop.
this goes this goes back to a question that I've always had. What is the point of development? Is it to get to the guy to the next level? Is it to get the guy to the major leagues, or is it to create superstars?
Yeah, I
Because
suppose
I,
my
because I,
complaint
because
is for all
because
these
I
players,
think
what do they have to show for it?
but I
You
think is
know?
a lot of Yankee fans expect the Yankees to develop superstars, and just getting to the big leagues is not. They don't see that as a success.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, we're at the point in the season now where obviously the way the Yankees are playing, they're going to need help. And we knew that before. They're going to make deals anyway. But
Hmm.
I made the comment on Twitter today, responding to one of Bobby Malone's tweets. It's time to start removing yourself emotionally from Yankee prospects because a bunch of them are going to be leaving here in the next month, just like last
Prospect
year.
hug watch is in effect.
That's right, just like last year. So
Yeah,
don't get too attached to these guys because
too
a
late
lot
for
of them
me.
are going to be moving.
Hmm.
And that's I didn't go and count all the guys who are in other organizations, obviously, who are not on 40-man rosters. There's plenty of those too.
Hmm.
Um, so I take this as a really good sign for what they're doing in the draft and what they're doing internationally
Hmm.
and what their development team is doing. I don't I don't necessarily think like I can't complain about the Clayton Beaters and the Andres Gomez's. I can say I don't know that they got enough of a chance with them,
A
but
fair
we know
shake.
that that's the deal with the Yankees. They're not
Yeah,
going to get a long runway.
yeah.
You either come up and you perform and you stick, or you don't. You're not going to unless. And I know you can argue. People might argue, well, what about Volpe? I get that, but it's not typical, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I can't complain about any of the guys that they've traded. It's more just like what do they have to show for it?
Yeah. I
You
think a
know?
lot of times also is that there's just there might not be any room for this player. Someone might be blocking them. They've signed an expensive free agent, so I can understand that. But piggybacking off what you're saying, my issue with it the majority of the time is I feel like it's misspent prospect capital.
Yeah,
Like like why would you trade for Frankie Montas when you knew he was hurt?
right. Or I mean, the one that I first guessed, the one I really didn't want to happen was Joey Gallo.
I I I hated that dude. Always
And
hated that dude. I
and
hate those type of hitters.
and Ezekiel Duran and Josh Smith are in that deal, and both those guys they could help the Yankees, and they stuck. Um, so like those are the kinds of things where all right, we got beat on that deal again. Obviously, you can't if everybody knew what was going to happen, then these things there'd be nothing to discuss.
Yeah, it's a
But
crapshoot.
but you start looking at the deals that they've made over the years are starting to pile up now. A
Mm,
lot more losses than wins when it comes to the deals they've made. And granted, I understand from an organizational standpoint, they're not thinking about fleecing people. That's a fans thing
yeah,
to do. But
yeah,
it's
no.
just not working out the majority of the time when you trade for somebody.
I mean, I, I loved Juan Soto when he got here. I loved Juan Soto as a player. Now
Yeah,
I look at him
that
now.
worked out.
Yeah, now I look.
But
I
he's a
mean,
Hall of Famer, you
well,
know?
no, I was gonna say he got you to the World Series. He didn't get you the World Series.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the defining trade of Cashman's career still happened in what was that 98 when he traded for Dave Justice?
Yeah. I mean, remember, I mean, there was a time when that was the Midas touch
Yeah.
where, hey, I mean, even before that, when, well, it was Gene
Well,
Michael
yeah,
for David
yeah.
Cohn.
Stick Michaels.
Yeah. And then bringing in that you can look back at all the deals they made, the Kenny Rogers for Scott Brocious and all these
Oh my
deals were
God.
like, oh man, this worked out great. And for a long time, I think Cashman had a pretty good record of making trades and guys performed well, but then it just seemed to turn a corner and it
No,
was like,
I think
man, bad beat after bad beat.
yeah, especially when it comes to trading for pitchers, it's just anytime it happens, I'm just like, oh no, here we go
Sonny
again. I'm waiting
Gray,
for it. I'm waiting for it to happen. Javi
yeah,
Vasquez twice.
Javi Vasquez, that's a good point. Yep.
Um, yeah, so I'm not thrilled when I hear about they're targeting this pitcher in a trade, and I'm just like, I already know what's gonna happen as soon as he's gonna hurt or he's gonna stink up the joint.
Yeah, so I'm happy for all their former prospects who they weren't going to get a chance with the Yankees, and we know that.
Yeah,
Like,
those other
you know,
organizations have the ability to be more patient with them.
right. The Mickey Gaspers of the world and guys like that who they weren't going to be Yankees, but they've gotten big league
Rob Ref
opportunities.
Snyder,
Rob Refsnyder's another one who started a playoff game for the Yankees, but went on to bigger and better things with other teams.
the Yankees gonna deal with his attitude.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. So,
All right. On that note, again, guys, I will be at the Tarpons game this Friday. Next week we have the draft episode, so make sure you tune into that. On that note, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe. Thanks again. You guys have a good night.